Hello everybody, it's Daniel here, bringing you a Team Fortress 2 gameplay commentary. So Pastime released the other week, and it was sort of a weird game mode to have in Team Fortress 2. Definitely not something that I would have anticipated. And the development behind Pastime is sort of interesting in itself, because this isn't being made by Valve, it's being made by a studio called Bad Robot, which is mostly associated with J.J. Abrams, and that's the guy making the next Star Wars. They work on films, and they've never done anything in relation to games before. So that's kind of interesting that they're making a specific thing in Team Fortress 2 now. And Pastime itself, it's an interesting game mode to say the least. I'm going to straight out admit that I'm not the best at this, but it's a game mode that seems to favour, if you are a Demo Man main and you're really good with your sticky jumps, it would really favour that. And it's also a game mode that's all about communication and teamwork, more so than I think any other game mode, because imagine it like Payload, but you pick up the cart and you throw the cart back and forth between your teammates. Like, you need to have people in the right place to actually accomplish anything in this game mode, and you need to effectively kind of communicate and really work as a team, because you can't just take the ball and run to the other goal. Like, most of the time, that's just not going to pay off. So I think it's a fun game mode, and I do see where they're going for in this, but I have a lot of issues with it, and that's what I really want to focus on in this video. And a large part of it is in relation to the fact that this is a beta game mode. And for this, I want to talk about the previous two beta game modes we've had in Team Fortress 2, and more than anything, I want to talk about the longevity of this. So our points of reference for this, we have Robot Destruction and we have Manpower mode. Those are the two other beta game modes that we've had in Team Fortress 2. Now for Robot Destruction, when that launched, it was a really weird thing, and it was actually quite complicated. Like, a lot of people didn't quite understand what was going on in Robot Destruction, and they had to simplify it quite a bit. Even now, it's still one of the more complicated game modes in the game. Now, what happened with Robot Destruction is that because it was quite complicated, a lot of people tried it on release, because of course you do. It's a new thing added to the game, you want to see what it is. Because it was quite complicated and just generally a lot of issues at launch, Robot Destruction didn't really go anywhere. It's sort of a dead game mode now, and there's very few people actually playing it. You don't see a lot of people playing it. And it's a shame, really, because there was a lot of ideas for Robot Destruction, but people just didn't want to play it, and it took too long for a lot of the issues to get sorted that the interest and audience for it essentially died. And now Robot Destruction sort of sits in like a limbo state in beta, where we don't know when it's actually going to be finished. I believe the last update for it was back sometime in April, so it doesn't look like anyone seems to care about that game mode anymore. Now we fast forward to Manpower mode. Manpower mode was sort of this weird custom mod that felt like it was slapped on the Team Fortress 2. Grappling hooks were essentially added, and you could mess about with those. Really did feel like a custom mod. And so we all played about with it, like, over Christmas, because it was just a really weird thing to have. And then power-ups were kind of thrown into the mix as well. So you had this really sort of odd game mode based around, still capture the flag at heart, and still like kind of fundamentally Team Fortress 2, but quite weird in what it was doing, and it really had a mod feel to it. Now, Manpower mode took a while to actually get a lot of polish for the game mode and to get a lot of fixes. Specifically how the grapple and hook actually interacts with things. That took a while to actually sort of get fixed and to actually add a couple of cool things. Like some cool mechanics like the grappling hooks got down the line was that you grapple onto other players, and when you grapple against a wall, you can actually press spacebar to do a cool grapple jump. Like, those are cool features. But it took a while to actually get to that stage, and the development for Manpower mode has been quite slow. If you look at it now even, like, we're getting close to the 1 year mark of Manpower mode, and it's still in beta, and no one's really sure where it's going, because it hasn't got an update in a while either, and it seems to almost have been dropped. And the interest for Manpower mode, I talked about this in the previous commentary, where I actually kind of just asked people, are you interested in Manpower mode? The interest for it seems to have gone down. Most people have forgotten that it's actually a game mode. If you even check kind of like search Team Fortress 2 videos on YouTube and look for Manpower mode ones specifically, there's not a lot of them that have been made recently. A lot of them are just kind of old ones, and it's just people really trying it out. There was a bit of an audience that went back to it when the Thunder Mountain map got converted to it, but really there's not much interest for it, and there's not a lot of people playing it either. So when you look at something like Pastime, which is this new beta game mode that's quite different, still has a lot of mistakes in it, feels like a mod that's slapped on Team Fortress 2, you've immediately got to be worried about the state of it, and you've immediately got to wonder, are we still going to be playing this in a couple of months? Because really, Pastime has a lot of the followings that Robot Destruction and Manpower Mode did. It's quite a different game mode, it feels like a mod slapped on, and it's actually quite complicated. But Pastime has an extra issue on top of all of this, and it's the fact that it's so reliant on communication with your team. Now, it doesn't sound like an issue, because yes, we have voice chat, we have text box for our teams, we can talk to people. Realistically, in most pub groups and pub servers, you don't do that. And that you kind of just like sort of semi-coordinate. Like, the engineer is the class that coordinates the best because you have a sentry ground on the spot. People can position themselves about that. But this is a really communication-intensive game mode. People have to know where they are and what they are doing, like, and be really aware of where the ball is and all of your teammates. And you do have this displayed in the UI at the bottom, but it's quite difficult to actually keep an eye on all of that as it unfolds. Like, it's quite difficult to follow. And if you look at the map design as well, that actually doesn't help, because this is probably the biggest map in the game. I believe it only potentially rivals some Manpower Mode maps in terms of its size. And the reason I say that is because you have so many interiors and exteriors. Like, you can go on top of the roofs, you can go in the buildings, and it's huge, just big open warehouses. And then you have kind of like these tree sort of open field areas with lots of obstacles, lots of ways to go around. And then at the sides of the maps you have like an underground tunnel network to quickly access wherever you want to go in the map. It's quite a confusing map when you think about it. And probably one of my biggest suggestions for this game mode, get a smaller map, because it's absolutely massive and it's very difficult to coordinate. But this is a game mode that really needs a team to function well. Like, if you play this with friends, you can have a good time. For random groups, though, I don't think you can. Like, it's very difficult to organize yourself. You're either steamrolled or you steamroll yourself. It's like, it's one of those two. And like, it's only extremes in that regard. Like, there's no middle ground. And because of that, I'm extremely worried, because it is a beta game mode, and we've seen the past history of beta game modes. Now again, Pastime is an exception here because it's not being developed by Valve, which is a sad thing to consider in itself, but this actually might get finished because it's not Valve. Like, it may not be stuck in limbo forever. And if it actually releases, then I think this may find an audience, because I think people will be interested in it then, because a lot of the mistakes will be ironed out. But as it stands, it's losing more and more interest as time passes, and it's going to need more and more frequent updates to actually sort of stop that. And more than anything, this needs to release sometime in the very near future, I would say. Like, they need to sort of figure out what they're doing. Even if they don't have a lot of maps support it, they need to release it as an official game mode. Because my prediction is that if this is not out by Christmas, at the earliest, well, at the latest, then this game mode is just not going to be played. Like, no one's going to care anymore past that state, because it took too long, and it's because of the beta map system. Like, people, like, when a game mode releases in beta, sometimes you just want to wait till it's released, because there's a lot of issues with it, and there's no point really in getting invested in it yet, because there's just a lot of mistakes and you gotta wait for things to be fixed. You may not be willing to put up with those, and especially when you've got a game like Team Fortress 2, where there's like so many other game modes for you to play, so many things that are actually finished, you'd rather just play those than this weird sport ball thing that's been thrown in the mix. Now, I understand why it's being released as beta. It is because it is this weird game mode, and because they need to figure things out, particularly for Bad Robot as well, because they've never made a game before, so like, beta is sort of perfect for them to get a handle of it. But just because it's Team Fortress 2, and just the past history with beta modes like this, where they are sort of out there, they're sort of weird, and they take forever to finish, if it doesn't finish soon, then no one's going to care. And that should not be a concern, but sadly it is, just because it's Team Fortress 2, and because Valve takes a bit too long sometimes. It's like, really, if they even held off on this, and like waited for them to have it like kind of fully developed, like had an in-house beta or something like that, and then release it as a finished thing, people will be interested in it because, oh hey, this game mode's finished. I said this about Manpower Mode, but if they delayed Manpower Mode 4 months, I believe, and actually kind of developed it and got to a state that it was kind of around when Thunder Mountain released and when things were starting to look a bit polished, I think people would still be playing it. But as it stands, it's still in beta limbo, and the interest for it just sort of died because we saw it as the fun gimmick and we didn't think of it as anything but the fun gimmick. Release as a finished game mode, and we can see that this is actually something functional and something fun to play, not just a gimmick. So my biggest hope for Pastime is that it's finished soon, and from that, I think it will be able to find an audience. Even if it only has one map when it's launched, that is still better than being trapped in beta. Make some new maps for it after it's been released. Support it like so many other game modes have been. Just get the thing finished and ironed as quickly as you can. Otherwise, no one's going to care. Anyway, that's going to be it for this commentary. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I again apologise for my gameplay in this. As I said at the start, I'm not the best at Pastime. Really, if you are really good with a demo and your sticky jumps, this map is just perfect for you, and you can see a lot of gameplays of that about the place. But I will see you with something new soon. Goodbye, and thank you so much for watching.